record.
Hello, Jack.
Hello, Josh.
How are you doing?
It's a nice day. We are being
Mm,
treated to the last vestiges of summer, I think. And this is I think there's a few days of sunshine. So I'm happy.
yeah, yeah. Why not? It's going to be lovely. It's going to be gorgeous evening. I think I've got the house to myself tonight. I'm excited. But before we get into that, I will break down what is happening today in today's episode. For the tip is all about caffeine. In Geek Corner, we're going to be talking about Hellboy and then some game movie adaptations. In Fit Talk, talking about what we want to do before we die. And Study Time's all about clusters of unhealthy traits. And in our hot topic today, finishing the big trio, we're talking about how to get your deadlift big.
Very nice. I like it. Before we start, Josh,
Mm?
I just wanted to share a little fact with you because there was no other
Uh-oh.
relevant place to put this into the podcast. And I was like, this is a fact that blew my mind earlier on. I'm a little bit geeky when it comes to things like space and astrophysics and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw a video earlier on. Did you know? Did you know the sun and the solar system appear to be moving at 200 kilometers per second, or an average speed of 448,000 miles per hour in the Milky Way, basically? Even at
Wow.
this rapid speed, the solar system would take about 230 million years to travel all the way around the Milky Way. And the Milky Way itself also moves in space relative to other galaxies. How fucking insane is that?
Do you know one I had the other day with my very smart client that I have? He said that you can fit every single planet in our solar system between us and the moon.
Which is mad. And that's pretty much how, like, if you look at the books, the old science books you used to get in school, they actually have it like that, don't they? And
Mm,
funny enough, I took that same client of yours a couple of weeks ago, and we had a discussion about this, and we were talking about how cool it would be if it almost was that close without all the side effects of pesky gravity,
mm,
and you could see them like seeing the other planets rise like the moon, and how
mm.
cool that would look. That would look fucking amazing. I like that. There is a
That would
video
be
on
pretty cool.
there's a video on YouTube that does that. It says, what if other planets were the same distance away from the moon? And it shows them coming over the horizon of like New York and stuff. It is really cool.
Oh wow. I mean, Jupiter would look absolutely ridiculous, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and Saturn as well, the rings, like it would be so fucking cool. It'd be wicked.
Mm.
But yeah,
Yeah,
I just thought I would start off with that little random space fact
yeah.
because yeah.
Mate, man, space is cool. Space is pretty cool. Kind of when you really think about it though, it gets a bit existential and you're like, oh my God, this is all a bit too big. How I don't what is the point?
It
It all
almost
gets a
upsets
bit
me a little bit because like
yeah.
I'm never gonna live long enough to know all the answers, and that's for me is like, oh man, I just want to know everything.
Well, not according to that naked mole rat study we had the other day. You might be able to
Well,
live long enough.
true. I mean, people have compared me to a naked mole rat, so maybe I will live forever.
You're definitely getting more that way.
I know that if I just do this, and there you go. Oh
Oh no.
wow, I
Oh,
look like
oh my.
Thanos's chin.
You look like a Klingon.
uh, for those listening, I suggest you go watch the YouTube version of this of what I just done. It was quite disappointing.
Yeah, it
Josh,
was.
do you know
Yes.
what? I'm actually feeling a little bit more
Mm.
awake than I was 10 minutes ago. Um,
Yeah.
but sometimes I need a little pick me up, but I'm a bit wary of having a pick me up too late. I don't want to take tips too late in the day because I don't want to be uncomfortable. So I've got no idea where I'm going with this one at all. I just pulled that one out my ass, no pun intended. So, Josh, what is your just a tip today?
Oh man. My tip for today, just a tip, is to not have any caffeine after 1 p.m. Now, this is something I tell a lot of clients, and every single one of them goes, what?
Mm-hmm.
They're just in big shock. Yes, try not to have caffeine after 1 p.m. The main reason is so you can get a good night's sleep. Quite a lot of clients will be drinking tea at like 7 p.m. and it's definitely not good for you. Okay, because caffeine's going to keep you awake, or your quality of sleep's not going to be that good. So try to cut out any caffeinated drinks after 1 p.m., Jack, and that will make you sleep better.
So it may
I know it's
be
hard.
it's 5-2 right now, and I've just finished a coffee. Although to be fair, I do actually say I agree with you fully. It's 1 p.m., but I have always said to myself 2 p.m. So that being said, I found these little beauties recently,
Mm-hmm.
and these
High
are
protein.
coffee, yeah, and these are coffee flavored. And I was
Mhm.
looking on the ingredients, and I don't know if you can see on there, but on there it has got caffeine. I was
Mm.
like, oh, it's only going to be a tiny minuscule amount. And I had one of those, when was it? Night before last at about 5:30, 6 o'clock in the evening. And
Mm-hmm.
I had such a shit night's sleep.
Oh no.
Yeah.
No,
So
mate.
it really
See,
doesn't have to be much caffeine. And yeah.
no. Yeah, that's the problem, man. It's so easy, and it's such a British thing is to like have a cup of tea, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And people forget. People just think coffee is the only thing that's got caffeine in it. Tea has caffeine in it as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, not as much, but it's still got quite a bit of caffeine in it. So if you there's no reason you can't have a hot drink, like have a decaf. That's okay. Like go for that, have a decaf. But all the clients I have that they say, "Oh, I'm really struggling with my sleep," and then I'm going, "All right, cut your caffeine out," and then they cut the caffeine
Mm.
out, and then they sleep better. It's like, well, there you go,
I'm
happy
not gonna
days.
lie, I can't even have decaf, because still it's not like you can never get all the caffeine out. Um,
Mm,
so yeah, even that messes me up. But what I will say is that so many people um will say to me, like all my clients say this, and I used to say this as well. It's like, oh yeah, it doesn't affect me. I can still go to sleep after like having a coffee at 9 o'clock.
mm,
It's like, yeah, but your quality of sleep will be shit, even if it doesn't feel like it. Your quality of sleep will be shit. Like if you were to do a comparison where you have like 3 months off of caffeine after 1 o'clock, and then you yeah, so let's say you have your last coffee now at 7 o'clock, then you go for 3 months without doing that and finishing at 1, then go back to having another
mm,
one at 7 o'clock in the evening, you're gonna be fucked. And that's pretty much
mm.
how you were beforehand. You just didn't realize it before.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm.
And the reason why you feel like you need caffeine all the time is because you're getting shit sleep because you're drinking caffeine all the time. You know, it's a endless downward spiral, isn't it? So
Mm-hmm.
it's trying to cut that out. It's interesting actually. I know a few people, and I don't know what it's like because I do drink caffeine, but I know a few people that have gotten rid of it, and they've said they've never felt better. You know, they've
Mm.
gotten rid of caffeine. They say they never felt better. So you don't need it. It's just hard to shift once you're in that cycle. You know,
Yeah.
once you're in that cycle of drinking it all the time. And for us, where we work, is unfortunately we get. I say unfortunately, fortunately we get free coffee, so it's
Mm.
it's very easy to drink it, and it becomes a bit of a routine. But if you can go without it, great, go without it.
I think a lot of people forget that caffeine is a legitimate drug. Like it
Mm,
is a drug. Like it's not without its flaws. It can be used like other drugs. It can be used favorably, and um ways to like improve cognition and energy and stuff like that.
mm.
But like all drugs, it can be overused as well. So yeah, it's just learning how to do it. And you've probably heard us say before, like 3 cups as well is probably like the main one, and have that third one um by 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock if you're me.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Exception to the rule.
Or like 10 to 6. So moving on to Geek Corner. A few things on Geek Corner today. The first one is, did you ever watch the Hellboy movies,
I
Hellboy 1 and
love
2?
them. Yeah, they were great, 1 and 2. I
Oh,
didn't like the third one, like the one with what's his name, David Harbour. But yeah, the
yeah.
original two were fucking
Oh,
awesome films. So out of nowhere as well at the time. They were just like, "What is this?"
mm.
And it was amazing.
Mate, I fucking love them. They're so good. Two was really good as well. Like
Hmm.
normally sequels are really bad, but it was great. I actually prefer 2-1 myself, but they were really, really, really good.
Yeah.
And Ron Perlman has come out, who plays Hellboy, in those original ones, has come out and said that he wants to come back to finish the trilogy.
I would love that. I would love that. I'm the same as you. I think I preferred the second one because the elves were cool as fuck in that film. Yeah, they were great. It was Guillermo del Toro as well who directed them. Is that
Yeah,
right? Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
He done Blade 2 as well, I believe, and he used the same actor who was the bad guy in Blade 2 for the elf in the second one of those as well. And Ron Perlman was also in Blade 2. Yeah, they're just really fun, man. Fun comic book films that are just they kicked ass. They were really, really great.
Yeah, it was so good. And I just really, really like them. And I do hope that happens and they come back. But do you think it would get butchered if they do it again and come back? Do you think there'll be too much? I don't know if, because there was obviously a bit of CGI, but it was like what was it, early noughties CGI? I think it was in the 2000s. And so it wasn't like crazy, and there was a lot of animatronics still in it, and costume design was like that kind of old school costume design. Do you think 2004, do you think that it would get ruined by today's kind of style of movie?
Part of me thinks yes. I mean, I was not keen on the last one at all. Like, really wasn't. I don't know. I don't think he had the same character. I don't know if it was to do with the special effects or not. Honestly, I can't remember. But Ron Perlman's also 73. Like, I just googled that. So yeah, whether he could still have that same physicality as he did 20 years ago, I don't know.
73.
Yeah, I mean, you look at people like Schwarzenegger and Stallone, they're still pulling it off, but I wouldn't put him in the same category as them necessarily. So yeah, it's born the 17th of April 1950. No, 13th of April. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I don't know is the answer. I wonder whether I don't remember how the last one ended. So I would have to go back and visit them to like revisit them just to see, well, how could they continue this? Could they? I can't remember if he doesn't have a kid, does he?
What, in the movie?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. No.
Okay. I can remember if that lady gets pregnant. I really, yeah. If they done it, it would have to be of Guillermo del Toro again, and it would have to be the same style, and which it would be if it was Guillermo del Toro as well, because he's all about those sorts of effects. So,
yeah.
I think it would be really cool. I just remember the Dark Angel thing from the second one. I think it's the second one with all the eyes where it stands up and it spreads its wings. That's so cool, man. Like all of his stuff is quite cool like that. So to answer your question, I would love to see it if it's done right.
Yeah, if it's done right. And hopefully it will be. I guess we'll find out if it does happen. The thing is, nowadays, what I find is that if anything gets enough traction on the internet, it happens. You know, if it gets enough fan like love, it'll happen.
Well, Deadpool proved that, and that was the one that set the trend.
Yeah.
Like when Ryan Reynolds leaked that thing, if it was him, I think he has admitted it was.
No, he admitted it was him.
Yeah. Then like that wasn't going to happen. Then they saw what happened, and like, yeah, I love it. But I mean, like it or not, the movie business is a business, and then it will depend whether the studios reckon they can cash in on it, and sometimes that pays off for us, so that is good.
Yeah. So yeah, could be good. We'll see. But who knows? So now, moving on, I don't know if you ever played the game. I've never played it, but it looks gorgeous. There's a game on next gen called Ghost of Tsushima. Have you ever seen the trailer of it?
Yeah, it's on the PS4. I've got PS Plus, so I could literally play it now if I wanted to. And it is it does look amazing. My cousin said it's one of the best games he's ever played, and he's a full hardcore gamer. Yeah, I wouldn't mind playing it. It's just something I haven't got around to yet.
So it's an open world like Japanese samurai movie set in the first Mongol invasion of Japan, and it's just a beautiful looking game. I haven't played it myself, but I've seen some videos. It looks phenomenal, and it's a great style. But the creator of John Wick wants to turn it into a movie.
I think it's more than once. I'm pretty sure it's already in production. He spoke
Mm,
about it about 2 months ago when he was on the Joe Rogan podcast, and he
mm,
said that they're working on it now. He said it's in full
amazing.
swing. From what I believe, I might be wrong, but I swear he did say that. So, um, that would be amazing. It's been a while since we've had anything that kind of style. Probably
Mm-hmm,
again like the
mm-hmm.
early 2000s, that sort of time. I don't know if there's any supernatural element to it at all. Do you? I'm not sure if there's
I'm
any.
not. I'm mate. I am not sure. I'm
Mm,
not sure. But I mean, that would be wicked. And if they use so for instance, let me just get his name up now because I can never remember his
you
name.
know, it'd be the dude who was in the Mortal Kombat movie, the one with the. Is he Japanese? I think he's Japanese. Um,
Well, there's the guy from John Wick 4 who um who owned
oh
the
yeah, him. Yeah,
Japanese.
he's the one.
Yeah,
He's the one who plays Scorpion or Sub Zero. I think it's
yeah,
Scorpion in
yeah.
in the Mortal Kombat film.
So he's called Hiroyuki Sanada, and he's in all things like that. He's amazing
Mm,
as any kind of like samurai guy. I would love to see him in it. Definitely.
hmm
He'd be up there for sure. Maybe Donnie Yen, but Donnie Yen's a little bit, he's not as serious, I don't think. He plays good as the kind of like half comical,
I
like slapstick.
think Donnie Yen is also Chinese as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, I believe. Um, yeah, so either way, like I think it would be fucking amazing. Like I think
yeah.
the quality of it, if it's done in that same kind of style as John Wick as well, with like the real slick action sequences and
Mm-hmm.
the nice kind of cinematic tones, I reckon that would look absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's got the potential to be absolutely wicked. I can't remember the last kind of movie like that I seen that has been really really good. So I hope it
Ah.
is if it's got that kind of level of like John Wick action, but in like old school historical Japan, so with a bit more, it'd be probably a little bit more serious.
Mm.
Um, it's just got the potential to be phenomenal.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking forward. Did you like The Last Samurai with Tom Cruise?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Oh, that
yeah,
was a great film. I really, really like that
yeah,
film. Um
yeah.
other than that, like I wasn't into the some of the Chinese films I did like. But I wasn't into the really over the top action ones like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon and stuff like that. But
Mm.
when you're talking like not the one. What's like Jet Li film? He was in the one with Jason Statham. Is there another one called One or something like that with him in it, which is actually
Yeah,
a Chinese language film?
yeah. So there's one called one. So it's the one you're thinking. I think is Warrior, which is the one with Jason Statham. But I think it's one. Uh,
Right.
and I think it's yeah. It's one. Oh no, no, that's an Indian movie. Maybe not. The I mean, the best fucking Jet Li movie is Unbreakable. Surely.
I love
Is it Unbreakable?
Unbreakable. Yeah, I do like Unbreakable. Fearless is another one. Fearless is fucking great,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
film. Um, and then there was War, which was Jason Statham as well, which is good. I'm pretty sure the one was the one with him and Jason Statham, where there's like multiple dimension versions of him, and he gets stronger the more versions of himself he
Mm,
kills. And that was good
mm.
fun as well for the time. Um, the very first film I saw him in was Lethal Weapon 4, and that was cool as hell.
Oh
Um,
yeah, when he breaks Thingy's shoulder and he has to bang his shoulder in against the. Oh, it's Unleashed, not Unbreakable. So it's
Oh,
Unleashed.
Unleashed. Yeah, yeah, that's it. That is, yeah, that probably is.
Mm,
That's my favorite one of his films anyway.
mm.
One, because it's set in London. Two, because it's just brutal.
Yeah,
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 that is a great film.
yeah. It is the one. You are right. It is called the one. It is the
Mm.
one. War is the one with Jason Statham, and that movie is so fucking weird. Like the ending of that movie is really
It is
strange.
really weird. I think there's two though,
Hmm.
isn't he? There was the one was also with Jason Statham, wasn't it?
I've got it here. 2 seconds. The one was with Jason Statham. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that. That was a great film. I just remember he picks
Mm.
up like so Jet Li's just running along as fast as cars, and then he picks up a motorbike in each hand and crushes someone in between them. Just standard. Why not? It is
Standard.
good.
Yeah.
Oh, did you ever
Amazing.
watch this is the first Jet Li film like where he was probably the big star in it. Did you
Hmm.
watch Romeo Must Die? Had DMX in
Uh,
it.
no, I have not seen that.
That was a
No.
great film. Had Aaliyah, so Aaliyah was Juliet,
Mm.
and yeah, Jet Li was like Romeo, basically. But yeah, it was fucking awesome. That was some really good stuff in that.
Mate, Jet Li has been in so many fucking movies.
Yeah.
I've got his movie list up here, all the way from 1986.
Oh
He
wow.
was the main character in a movie called Born to Defend. Um, wow. Yeah, yeah.
So
He's done.
he went to a specialist, like we have drama schools here. He went to
Mm,
a specialist theatrical school, I guess it would be, where they learn martial arts to that kind of level to display on screen,
mm,
as well as that, and all the acrobatic stuff, as well as acting and stuff. So there's like
mm.
they have dedicated learning institutes to it.
Yeah, he's wicked. He's
Mm.
from Singapore. Didn't
I
know
didn't
that.
know. No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah. So I'll move on to our next bit before we get too much into Jet Li and combat fighting movies. My question really after Ghost of Tsushima film adaptation, which I'm really looking forward to, is what game would you love to see adapted to a movie? Because I think we've talked about this before, but I'd love to revisit it a little bit. And like, what game would you think? Do you know what, this would be wicked as a movie? So,
Mine's still
for
the same
instance,
answer. Go on.
yeah, I was going to say yours is just going to be Metal Gear Solid, but
Yeah, yeah,
for instance, one that I think everybody always says is like Zelda as Studio Ghibli is
yeah.
something that people would say quite a lot. So let's say you've got to give an answer that you've not used before, Jack, just to put you on the spot.
Fuck you. I would love to see, and I'm sure I've said this on the podcast before as well. I would love to see a decent adaptation of a Resident Evil film because I can't believe there hasn't been
Mm,
one yet.
yeah.
The last one was so bad and it had all the potential for being so good because it looked the part with the set pieces and stuff like that, but they just ruined it.
Mm,
The other one I would like to see is, and there are rumors this could happen, is Days Gone, which is an open world zombie game, which
yeah, yeah,
has
yeah.
like these hordes of zombies on it. So it's more like think more it's like a cross between The Last of Us and DayZ. And it is,
Mm,
yeah, it's brutal. And it's basically this post-apocalyptic Portland, Oregon. And no, just Oregon, it's not Portland. And it has got so much potential if they actually move forward and make it. I'm so gutted they're not making a sequel to that game because that game was fucking amazing. It was so great. It was good fun.
yeah. I mean,
That's my
that'd be
one.
good.
Mm.
That would be pretty cool. I think it would be cool if they did, because I really like war movies. I think war movies are great. So like a good adaptation of any of the COD games or
Mm.
Battlefield, stuff like that. Because like Call of Duty, I mean, I'm not a big fan of the online aspect of it just because I'm shit at online FPS. But the actual storylines, like the first player, the one player storylines of those are actually really fucking
Hmm.
good.
Yeah, that's all I play
Um,
them for. I'm the same as you. I don't
yeah,
like
yeah.
online gaming really.
So I mean that as a film adaptation has got the potential because some of
Mm.
those are really, really good storylines.
I'm more of a bigger fan of the more modern ones. I'm not too fussed about World War One and Two
Mm-hmm.
games,
Mm-hmm.
to be honest. But I've played the remake of the first Modern Warfare. That was great.
Mm.
They're the kind of games I always wait for till they're on sale though, because they are so expensive for what they are. Like I think the newest one is being priced at like 80 quid or something. It's just so much
Mm.
money. So I always wait until they're like less than 20 quid. So I will get now the third one's coming out. When the second one goes down to cheap, I'll play that as well, and then I'll probably play the third
Yeah.
one in a few years as well. But yeah, they are really good. They have got a lot of potential for that as well. I don't know if you played the last one, the remake of the first one. Sorry, it came out like
No.
2018, I think 19. It's got this level that basically got so much critical acclaim because you play an SAS person with a team, and you have to infiltrate this London townhouse where a load of terrorists are plotting like a big bombing type of thing, and it's like multiple levels in this house. But the thing they do
Mm.
different, what gamers don't realize, is that in most games they play, when you're in an indoor environment, everything is made like 30% bigger, so you've got room to move around as a character.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
in this game they kept everything true to size, so it feels so realistic. You're basically night vision the whole way through it. You got your suppressed
Oh wow.
weapons creeping through, and if you YouTube this later on, I think it's called Open House or something like that, the level.
Hmm.
If you YouTube it later on, it looks like body cam footage. It looks like real footage as you're doing it, and
Oh
that was
wow.
that was one of the great things, and stuff like that, to get that kind of tension feeling into it, that would equate really well to a movie.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Definitely. I mean, that
Mm.
sounds cool. That does
What
sound
about
cool.
you anyway? What games have you, like, if you could see anything, like anything as well as Call of Duty, is there anything else that really that makes you think, oh, actually, yeah.
Mm. Yeah, see, it's interesting because like anything that's like, I get worried that anything that's like too like far into the fantasy realm, because like obviously I fucking love Skyrim, but
Mm,
I just feel like it would get butchered as a movie. So, just like Monster Hunter did, like it just
oh
got
yeah.
absolutely shredded as a movie. And I'm like, ugh. Um, so I guess if I wanted to see a movie adaptation or something, it would have to be something that's realistic in a sense.
Hmm.
Um,
I don't know
or
what Wes
some
Craven's got on Capcom. Wes Craven must have some dirty laundry on Capcom, because why,
yeah,
how
yeah,
he's been able to make all these bad Resident Evil and Monster Hunter films, I don't
yeah.
know.
All of these, they're absolutely terrible.
Hmm.
They're so terrible. And no offense to the actress, but like she's making a bad name for herself.
Yeah, I know. We watched Fifth Element again a couple of months ago, and it's like
Mm,
her career could have gone so differently. But
yeah, I mean, Fifth Element's wicked.
that is such a good
Um,
film.
do you know, I wouldn't mind seeing Borderlands as a movie. Borderlands is fucking hilarious.
I'm pretty sure
Borderlands is
that
like,
was your answer on the last time we had this
was it?
conversation. Yeah,
Oh,
I think it
wow.
was. Yeah,
Yeah, because it's like Guardians of the Galaxy, but for adults.
I've never played it, so that's cool.
Oh, it's so funny.
Mm.
Yeah, it's such a good game. Yeah, definitely, I would say that. And but it's the kind of game that's like a movie in itself anyway. So yeah, it kind of lends itself to it. Um, yeah, I guess that's it. Yeah, I think I must admit, I thought that we'd never get a good live action Pokemon movie, and then they brought out Detective Pikachu, and it's actually well good.
It is really good. That is really good. I think the game's being re-released for Switch soon, like completely redone.
Oh, is it? Oh,
Um,
wow.
I'm playing Ghost Recon at the moment, which is in the Tom Clancy universe. Um,
Mm,
and some of the Rainbow Six characters pop up in there anyway. But the
mm,
Rainbow Six movie is in production right now, so I I'm equal parts excited and scared about what's going to happen with that, because the book
mm.
and the first game were so amazing. They've come so far away from the source material now, it's not even funny. So I hope they release that film. It stays true to kind of the original sense of what the games and the book
Mm,
were. And I hope that makes them redo another game in that same kind of style.
yeah.
And that would be so happy for, like, yeah, that made me happy.
Mm.
Um,
I, yeah, because is it the same people making the movie that made Jack Ryan?
no, so whether it'll all come together, I don't know, but it was the uh Without Remorse with Michael B. Jordan in it that came out a
Mm,
couple of years ago. So
yeah,
Rainbow Six is going to be the sequel to that film, but we
yeah.
haven't met, in the Jack Ryan TV series, we haven't met John Clark, who Michael B. Jordan plays in the
Mm.
TV series of that. We've met his son-in-law, Domingo Chavez. Have you finished watching Jack Ryan now, all four
I'm
seasons?
on season 2.
Oh, okay. All right. So in the last season, you meet one of the key members of Rainbow.
Ah,
But he isn't, and you see on the computer screen as well, you see the name Rainbow pop up as well, which is making me hold out hope that it's all going to kind of come together, and maybe Michael B.
mm.
Jordan, John Krasinski, and this guy will all be in it. It's actually it's weird to see him in a serious role. It's what's his face from Ant-Man. I always forget the damn actor's name. The one who
Paul
tells the
Rudd.
stories really quickly. The
Oh, yeah, not sure, but
Yeah,
yeah, I
but
know who
it's
you mean.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like a badass stone cold killer in that
Oh wow.
in season 4 of Jack Ryan. So it's weird
Mm.
seeing him step away from that, but it is good.
Yeah. I mean, Jack Ryan's such a great fucking series. I'm
Yeah.
really enjoying it. I'm
Mm.
really, really enjoying it. It's also weird seeing John Krasinski in a serious role because I'm used to
Being
The
jacked
Office.
as
So
well. Mm.
yeah, really jacked.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, let's move on. I forgot to put a timer on, but we're just cracking on anyway, so it doesn't matter. So for Fit Talk today, I'm feeling a bit as you can probably tell how I'm feeling by the question. I'm feeling a bit like I wanna achieve something before I get too old. So I guess my question to you, Jack, is, and we've definitely had this one before as well, but I know being PTs, our mind changes all the time, and we say a lot of stuff. So let's see if it is still the same. What's one fitness achievement you want before you die? So one thing that you want to be able to do in your fitness life before you die.
Do you know what? And this is weird. I think I answered something similar last time as well. Unfortunately, I don't have anything necessarily that is like
Mm,
I need to get this done before I die. Like I've not peaked by any means, but
mm,
there's things I would like to be able to do consistently that I'm working on now that I would like to continue for as long as I can until I die. Like, for instance, working on my cardiovascular levels,
mm.
maintaining a certain amount of deadlift, a certain amount of pull-ups. But there's nothing like at in terms of things I would like to do before I die. I think I would definitely want to maintain I want to attain and then maintain a good level of martial art. That's definitely something I want to do. Um,
Mm.
other than that, instead of being like fitness achievement, it would be more like what is your body capable of achievement. So like being put in a survival situation or something like that, like training for it and being put in a survival situation. That's the
Yeah,
sort of
yeah,
thing,
yeah.
like being put on in a different biome somewhere in the world and saying you've got to survive the weekend with your own skills and
Yeah.
fitness. That's the sort of thing. I listened to, since we last had this conversation, actually, I've listened to Cameron Haynes' book called Endurance. For those who don't
Mm,
know, Cameron Haynes is a he's like the David Goggins of the hunting world. He just gets after it. In fact, him and David Goggins go running quite a lot, and Cameron Haynes beat David Goggins sometimes as well, which is just mental. But
mm,
he will go into the wilderness out in, I think it might even be Oregon, I can't remember, but in the wilderness in America where it's just hundreds of thousands of square miles worth of harsh terrain, mountains and woodland. He'll go out there and he'll hunt down an elk with a bow and then butcher the elk, carry it all back to his truck and that, and take it back. And this guy also, at the time, he doesn't do it anymore, but he worked 40-hour job, a 40-hour a week job, as well as going to do that. He would run like multiple marathons every week, and just for
mm.
fun. Not, I don't want to be quite that level, but being able to do that sort of thing, like just knowing that I could survive in that sort of situation, for me, that would be a really good place for my body to be.
Mm. Yeah, I mean that's great. Where would you think that your talent lacks at the moment? Do you think it's like knowing the survival stuff
And
or
endurance, yeah, knowing the
yeah.
survival stuff and my cardiovascular endurance at the moment, definitely, they're the
Mm,
two things that would be lacking for something like that. um it'd be interesting to see how far my willpower would get me at the moment,
mm,
knowing I have to versus like, oh, you can do this if you want, but knowing I
mm.
had to do it, like, well, how far my willpower could take me. But yeah, I'd like to know I was fit enough, or something like SAS Who Dares Wins, that sort of thing. I've never watched that
Mm.
program, but I understand the premise behind it. That sort of thing
Yeah.
is more attractive to me than say lifting 300 kilos at the moment.
Yeah, I guess you probably have the willpower to get you quite far. However, is your body capable of doing it without injury? You
Yeah.
know, you get to the point where you just end up fully spraining something and you can't walk. So
Mm-hmm.
then there's nothing you can do anyway. Um, and I know like people crazy like David Goggins will say, "Well, I was fucking pissing blood and shit myself and carried on anyway and was bleeding out my feet." And it's like, okay, fair enough, whatever. But
Mm.
yeah, I guess learning the survival and doing the cardio stuff is pretty nuts. In terms of the cardio stuff, are you doing anything at the moment to try and get to a better level of endurance?
I'm still doing my morning circuits, and I am still
Mm-hmm.
doing my Milo challenge as well. So yeah, they're leading
Mm.
to it. One, what I do need to introduce at some point is running. I just haven't introduced running again yet. Um, and I've probably said this. I know I've said this to you. I've probably said it on the podcast. I'm going to get a treadmill for in here as well for in my gym.
Mm.
And I hate running on treadmills, but for me, in terms of what fits into my life at the moment, it'll probably be the best answer.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Well, why not? Give
Mm,
it a go.
yeah.
Yeah, awesome. I mean, so what you need to do is then put yourself in that situation. I mean, you already mentioned SAS Who Dares Wins, so you could always
No, fuck that.
put yourself in for it.
Yeah,
Why not?
I
Sign up.
funny to say that my brother-in-law tried to get me to sign up because at the time when it first came out, he was quite chummy with Ant Middleton, and I was like,
Mm.
no, don't sign me up for this yet. I don't want I don't want to do it. I just come out of a 9-year relationship. My head wasn't in a good place, and I was like,
Oh
no, I
no.
am not healthy for this. But yeah, it was. I would like to know I could do something like that, but without the cameras. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
I would want to do it in almost like a real type of situation, but not real at the same
Yeah.
time. What about you?
Wonder if there is a. For myself, so there's a couple of things. I want to be able to squat 200 kilos.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that would be a big thing. If I could squat 200 kilos, I'd be pretty fucking happy. Um,
Is that as a one-off, or would you want to hit it once and then maintain that strength for as long as you can, kind of thing? Are you
I
talking like
mean, yeah,
a powerlifting comp kind of situation, or just building yourself up to where you can do that on the reg?
just where I can do it, yeah, where it's
Mm.
just like I can squat 200 kilos.
Mm-hmm.
That would be pretty cool. Um, definitely definitely do that if I can. And I keep seeing this, and I saw a video today of a guy who just done it, and it's a trek called the Welsh 3000s, and I've talked about this before.
Yeah.
And a guy did it. He did a video of how he did it in 11 hours, which is fucking ridiculous. But it's like 37.5 kilometers of mountains climbing, like over 9,000 meters of elevation, something stupid like that. I'd love to do something along those lines. Something
Mm-hmm.
big like that, where it's like a huge hike, but over crazy terrain, but you just get beautiful views and stuff. That'd be
Mm-hmm.
something up my street. If I ever got to the point where I could take like 4 to 6 months off work, I'd love to do like the Appalachian Trail, something along those lines.
Yes, well, yeah, I'm 100% with you on that one. I was speaking to you
Mm.
and one of your clients the other day.
Mm-hmm.
I would actually like to go the other side of the country as well and do from the top of the Canadian Rockies all the way down to the bottom of the American
Mm.
Rockies. Like just do that, but all by human power. So not necessarily trekking the whole way, but biking, trekking, and kayaking where there's rivers and stuff like
Mm.
that. I think that would be absolutely just yeah the best. Can't
Yeah.
think of something better than to do than that, to be honest.
Yeah. I think it'd be so fun. Um, Obviously fucking scary at the same time. But
Mm-hmm.
like I was talking to Gail about it, about how when she did the Appalachian Trail, and we'd have to get her on at some point so she can
Mm-hmm.
talk to us about it. But it's just crazy the things you got to think about. The biggest killer on the Appalachian Trail, what do you think it is?
Hmm. I don't know. I'm guessing it's not mountain lions because they tend to run away more than they would confront
Mm-hmm.
somebody unless they've got the kids. I doubt it's bears because they'd be the same.
Mm-hmm.
I would say it's probably something like a twisted ankle or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Ticks.
Wow, fuck me, is it really? Jesus Christ.
Fuck that.
Infections.
Fuck that.
Mm,
Well, it's ticks, yeah, you get Lyme disease from a tick,
mm.
you're fucked. But no thanks. You know what I mean? Like ticks. I've got an irrational fear of ticks because we don't really get them where we are, but I'm so worried that I'm just gonna get it and not realize that I've got one. You know what I mean? And then I'm just gonna get Lyme's disease.
Do you want me to ruin
that's
you right now? Like the amount of ticks. So Kimberly, my partner, is a dog groomer. The amount of ticks
mm-hmm.
she pulls out of dogs is insane. Like
Oh,
they're everywhere
so
around here. They're in like all the long
oh
grass and stuff
fuck.
like that, and they attach.
Shit.
They attach. She's got like this special tick puller outer thing. So, oh mate, yeah, your worst fear is like right in your back garden. You just don't know
Well, I haven't had one yet,
it.
so
I'm gonna go like,
yeah. So yeah, ticks are one of the biggest killer.
holy shit.
So yeah, I've just found something online for you that's a good survival challenge. So there you go. Now let's move on, and let's move on to study time.
Mm.
So for study time today, there's a new study that's come out of the European Society of Cardiology. So it's all about heart health, as you can imagine. Came out on the 25th of August. And the title of this is Cluster of Slightly Unhealthy Traits Linked with Earlier Heart Attack and Stroke. Now, there's a reason I picked this, and the reason is that start of that sentence is cluster of slightly unhealthy traits. So I'm going to read the stuff. So middle-aged adults with 3 or more unhealthy traits, including slightly high waist circumference, blood pressure, cholesterol, and glucose, have heart attacks and strokes 2 years earlier than their peers, according to research presented at ESC Congress 2023. It's estimated that up to 31% of the global population has metabolic syndrome. Previous studies have shown that people with metabolic syndrome are at a higher risk of diabetes, heart disease, stroke, and premature death. This study investigates the link between asymptomatic metabolic syndrome in midlife and cardiovascular disease and death up to 3 decades later. The study enrolled 34,269 adults in their 40s and 50s who attended a cardiovascular screening program in 1990 to 1999 in the Swedish county of Västmanland. Whatever. Participants went to their primary healthcare center for a clinical examination by a nurse, which included measurements of height, weight, blood pressure, total cholesterol, blood glucose, and waist and hip circumference. They also completed a questionnaire about lifestyle habits, previous history of cardiovascular disease and diabetes, and socioeconomic factors such as education. Individuals were classified as having a metabolic syndrome if they had 3 or more of the following: waist circumference of 102 centimeters or above for men and 88 centimeters or above for women, total cholesterol 6.1 millimole per liter or above, 130 something or higher of systolic blood pressure. Yeah, so 130 systolic blood pressure or 85 or higher of diastolic blood pressure, and fasting plasma glucose 5.6 millimole or higher. Participants with metabolic data on cardiovascular events, myocardial infarction, and stroke and death were collected from national and local registers. The researchers analyzed associations between midlife metabolic syndrome and non-fatal cardiovascular events and all-cause mortality after adjusting for age, sex, smoking, physical activity, education level, body mass index, hip circumference, and living alone or with family. A total of 5,084 individuals, 15%, met the criteria for metabolic syndrome, and a control group of 10,168 individuals without metabolic syndrome were identified. Some 40% of participants were women. During a median follow-up of 27 years, 1,317, so 26% of participants with metabolic syndrome died compared with 19% of the controls, meaning that those with metabolic syndrome were 30% more likely to die during follow-up than their counterparts without metabolic syndrome. So I could read the rest of it, but we kind of get the difference here is that what they're saying is multiple unhealthy traits, and it's not like super unhealthy traits, it's slightly unhealthy traits. Having a multiple slightly unhealthy traits gives you what they're calling metabolic syndrome, which essentially having comorbidities. So whether that's your blood sugar is too high, your blood pressure is too high, your waist circumference is too high, your cholesterol is too high, all of these things. Because you can have a high waist circumference, but maybe lower on all the other things and be okay. So it's that when we're looking at our health, we're not just looking at, oh, I'm a bit overweight. We're looking at what's my blood pressure, what's my blood sugars, what's all of this. and trying to bring everything down. Like, what's going to bring my blood sugar down? What's going to bring my blood pressure down? How can I monitor all of these things and make sure that I'm okay? Because also, you can have a low. There's so many people who might have a smaller waist circumference and might not be overweight, but their blood sugars might be high, their blood pressure might be high, and all they're thinking about is, well, I'm a healthy weight. What do I need to worry about? Well, actually, maybe you need to check your blood pressure. Maybe because you're stressed all the time and you're smoking, your blood pressure's through the roof. Or you're really skinny, but you eat sugar all the time and your blood sugars are all over the place. It's definitely something, you need to check out. Multiple slightly unhealthy traits, as we see here, gives you a 30% more likely chance to die. So get on top of it.
Yeah, and like you said, you brought attention to this word, but it can't be brought attention to enough, and that is the thing. It just says slightly high. Like these things don't have to be massively out of whack; they just have to be slightly higher than what you think. And this is just, I don't know how big a thing it is anymore, but this just puts a nail in the coffin for healthy at any size, because fuck that shit. You're not like, yeah, you may feel good, and I'm all for body positivity and confidence and stuff like that. It doesn't fucking mean you're healthy by being fat. I'm sorry, that's harsh, but it's fucking true. Yeah, you're like, this sort of stuff needs to be shouted about more. And I think, again, I think unfortunately what we're going to see with this is that when there are drugs that can achieve our fitness levels for us, then it will start getting shouted about, because there's profit in it. Like that's where all the profit lies when it's. But if you're an individual listening to this, do it with before that happens. Like, get on top of it now. Just start doing it. Just start being a bit more active. Make it fun. It doesn't have to be the stuff that me and Josh talk about, although we talk about the best stuff to do. It just has to be something where you're getting out, getting healthier, and trying to mitigate all of these conditions, because everyone's going to want to live longer.
Yeah. And it's so easy now to keep on top of everything, to know how much my blood pressure is, how high, and even blood sugar now is becoming a new thing. Like everybody's checking their blood sugars all the time. Not that it's a new thing, but it's becoming more and more relevant for people. And it's mainstream, and people now have the ability to test it themselves with these blood glucose trackers. So we have the ability to keep on top of everything and keep an eye on it, and look at it and go and assess that information and actually do something about it. I think that's what a problem is a lot of the time, is people get the information but don't change, don't do anything about it. They just go, oh no, and then freak out about it. Instead, you go, right, I know if my blood pressure is high, maybe I need to reduce my stress. Maybe I need to get a bit more active. Maybe I need to. If I know if my blood sugar is high when I'm eating this, maybe I shouldn't eat that. Simple as that. That's what we need to start doing more of, and monitoring these things, keeping on top of it.
I think a really good episode, Josh, that we need to do. I know it's something we talked about before we even recorded our first episode, and I think it might be a good subject to bring up, is that backcasting thing, because I think a lot of people, they just have this unshakable belief that they're going to have all the time in the world to get on top of this shit. It's always, I'll do it later. I'll do it later. I'll do it later. Empirically, all the data is showing the sooner you start, you're still going to wish you started sooner. So yeah, I think people just need to get on top of this stuff now before it gets too much to handle.
Yeah, definitely. That's a great idea. So yeah, people start monitoring your shit. Let's start trying to fix some things. Let's start trying to get healthy. Not for any other reason, just so you can enjoy your life and live a bit longer. It's as simple as that. So let's move on to our hot topic, Jack. And my hot topic for today is how to deadlift big. The results for today, out of today's episode, is I want you to be able to deadlift an elephant. My drivers are so you can overpower any adversary. And my actions are do what I say. That is today's hot topic. Easy work.
Okay, well, a newborn baby elephant calf weighs about 120 kilos.
Easy. Done it.
Newborn male African elephant may weigh up to 165 kilos.
Done it. Done it.
Excellent. Okay, how much does a 1-year-old elephant weigh? Good fucking luck. Oh no. Alexa, how much is 422 pounds in kilos?
22 IF is about 459 pounds and 3 pence.
Wait, what? It didn't understand my question.
Okay.
I don't want to
matter.
Google anything because it keeps on making the screen cut out whenever I do.
400 and what?
Oh, 420. So that's just under 200 kilos. So yeah, we've both done that. Yeah, we've both done that. Like a 1-year-old. You'll be able to deadlift a 1-year-old elephant.
Yep. And what?
And what? And overpowering the adversary as well.
Yeah.
Unless it's strong.
Exactly. So this is in the same kind of a structure as we'd have done with the bench and the squats. So anything you want to add, Jack, just add. But I'm going to give you 3 issues. And my 3 issues for this lift, and if you're struggling with this in the lift, are struggling getting the bar off the floor, struggling on the lockout, and your grip failing. They're my 3 things for the deadlift today. There's obviously loads more things that could be happening, but that's all I'm focusing on today, so deal with it. Then I'm going to give you 3 solutions for each of those issues, which we will go through now. So issue number 1 is struggling to get the bar off the floor. You're going for your max deadlift, and if you felt good, all your warm-ups felt good, you get to do the lift, and then it just does not move. You cannot get the bar off the floor. So these are my 3 exercises for helping you get better at getting the bar off the floor.
Get stronger in it, mate.
Yeah, just get stronger, mate. That's it. So what I will say, I'm going to preface this because I feel like there's not really a need to say it, but we should say it, is the first thing everybody should do when it comes to this sort of thing, when it comes to the squat, bench, and deadlift, getting stronger, is make sure your technique is good. Mm-hmm. That is the first thing. I'm not going to put it in solutions because that should be just a fucking make sure you're not deadlifting bad.
If you look like a dog taking a shit, you're doing it wrong, basically.
Well, have you never heard of the dog taking a shit deadlift? That's a real deadlift.
Yeah, it's a real backbreaker, that one.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah. Yeah. So you got to paint the bowls brown. So my solutions for struggling to get the bar off the floor. The first is a dead stop deadlift. Now, for those that don't know what a dead stop deadlift is, it's essentially where you pause about an inch off the floor with the bar, but you don't lift the bar off an inch off the floor. What you try and do is get so much tension in the bar where the bar starts to bend because you've got super tight through your upper back and you're creating pressure through the floor. You get enough tension that the bar can lift off the ground about an inch. You pause and then you lift. Okay, you pause for like 1, 2, then lift. This is such a great teacher about getting tension in a bar. So many people don't get tension in a bar before they attempt to deadlift. So get that tension in a bar, just pause about an inch off the ground, then ping up and do the full rep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's the hardest part to teach as well. I would say is that very first part, because everyone can, nearly everybody can stand up once they're up at the very top and then master that bit. It's a bit more intuitive, but that very first movement is almost counterintuitive, the way that you kind of counterbalance yourself. You're basically counterlevering a massively heavy bar with your posterior chain, like your ass, basically. And just that first initial bit is the hardest one to understand.
Yep. And it teaches you how to, as I said, get tension in the bar. It teaches you how to get your back tight. It teaches you how to create pressure for your feet. It's definitely something I'd suggest everybody have a go at. So dead stop deadlifts are great. That's a really great exercise to get good at. The next exercise is probably actually my favorite deadlift accessory exercise. I love this deadlift accessory exercise, and that's deficit deadlifts. If anybody doesn't know what deficit deadlifts are, you stand on you elevate the surface. So you stand on something elevated, but the bar stays not on the standard floor. So you get like a little square pad, whatever it is you have, or you stand on a plate, for instance, as long as the plate's flat. and you deadlift off that. And what that does is it means you have to deadlift further than normal. If you can get your deficit deadlift close to what you can deadlift standard for like 5 reps, then you know full well that the next time you deadlift off the floor, it's going to be so much easier. Because it's as simple as there is just less to travel. So you're starting in a harder position and you go back to easier position.
What I'm going to say to this is, and this is something most people don't think about, especially if they're beginners. If you are deadlifting with anything other than an Olympic plate, then you're probably already doing deficit deadlifts by default, because Olympic plates are a certain diameter, whereas most other plates you get in the gym are smaller anyway, which gives you the same effect as a deficit deadlift. So you're still having to reach down further to grab the bar and lift it up. So obviously the smaller the plate, the more the deficit, without actually having to elevate your feet. So if you're in a commercial gym or a home gym and you're using weights like tri-grip plates, for example, they're usually smaller than a Olympic plate. So if you're using them for a deadlift, then chances are you're actually already doing some type of deficit deadlift.
Yeah, this is nothing to do with deadlifts, but a good little technique. If you want to make bent over rows or stiff leg deadlifts harder, use smaller plates because you have to reach further. That's another good way of doing that. So yes, deficit deadlifts if you want to improve getting off the floor. That's a really good one.
Yeah.
My next one is banded deadlifts, but banded in a different sense than what most people think. You want to attach a band to the center of the bar and then have the band attached to something in front of you. So it's trying to pull the bar away from your body. What this does is you have to then actively pull the bar into your legs to stop it from rolling away. And that teaches you to get your lats engaged correctly when doing the deadlift. So many people, when they start a deadlift off, the bar instantly moves away from their legs. And then it becomes exponentially harder the further and further away the bar gets away from you. So having a band pulling it away and you having to pull the bar against your shins by using your lats and getting your lats tight will help you keep that bar super close. So then when you come to do the standard deadlift, it's so much easier to just keep that bar tight against your legs.
Yeah, I haven't got much to add to that one, to be honest. That's again, the lats, we've spoken about this a couple of episodes back. The lats are such an important part for pretty much any lifts, especially the deadlift. You want to be actually driving your shoulders so hard downwards and activating your lats that your pecs and your lats hurt. That's kind of like how much tension you want to have in your body if you're going for a heavy deadlift.
Yeah, definitely. So 3 solutions there for getting off the floor: dead stop deadlifts, deficit deadlifts, banded deadlifts. Now, issue number 2. If you struggle on the lockout of the deadlift, and I consider lockout basically anything past the knees. If you're struggling to lock that bar out, lock your hips out and stand up straight, then these are my 3 solutions for beating that. The first one is rack pulls. Now, if you don't know what rack pulls are, is you set a bar up about just above your knee height or about your knee height. Essentially, you can generally go from wherever the sticking point is in your lift and then do deadlifts from that. So it's higher up. What you can do with this is overload the weight. So you can go way heavier than what you would normally. This does multiple things. One, it helps improve that lockout position. So you know that if you can deadlift, if your max is, you're struggling at 180, but you can rack pull 200, you know that you're not going to struggle with that lockout. You know that you're not going to struggle with that. It also allows you to think, right, when I'm at my knees, what muscles do I need to make sure I'm using when I get to that position? And you can really focus in on that. So whether maybe you're not using your glutes correctly and squeezing them through and pushing your hips through, then when you're in a rack pull position, you can focus on squeezing your hips through. And also, rack pulls actually do help with the next point as well. And overloading that weight can help improve your grip as well. So yeah, that's why I recommend rack pulls.
Yeah, rack pulls are great, and they're really good for just sorting out the upper back as well, getting all of that just locked in, get it all tight. Again, they help with that lat activation, and it's also really good for getting your body used to that much weight as well. Like just I'm talking about for your whole body, not just for your forearms and all the muscles, but when you start lifting really heavy and you get your biggest lift, like you're going to get so much neural fatigue that you actually start to feel tired. And this is a good way to try to counteract that a bit by practicing having overloading your body with that weight first is just going to help adapt your body to trying to lift as much weight. So if you're going for a comp or something like that, it's a good training technique to get ahead of the game on that one.
Yeah, definitely. So then my next exercise is stiff leg deadlifts. Now, when you get into that lockout position, your hamstrings and glutes do quite a lot of work, and stiff legs almost mimic that movement with the lockout. And if you don't know what stiff legs are, it's where you can load up from the top, for instance, of a deadlift, and then you push your bum back as far as you can go and get a big stretch for your hamstrings. And it's a really good move for building. A lot of bodybuilders are used for just building strength, building muscle in their hamstrings and glutes, but it's also great for building up in your deadlift. It's specific to the deadlift as well, so it does help. And it really hits the weak points in the hamstrings and the glutes in that hinge position. So doing stiff leg deadlifts are great. I always recommend people to do stiff legs under tempo because that eccentric portion of the rep, so the lowering down portion of the rep, is where a lot of the strength is held. So focusing on slow and controlled stiff leg deadlifts are definitely a great idea.
Yeah, I fucking hate them. They're really effective, but they're also disgusting, like stiff-legged deadlifts. Give me something heavy to lift up off the floor any day. Stiff-legged deadlifts, because you're under complete tension the whole time as well. You very rarely go all the way back to the floor. So, and if you do go heavy and tempo on this, you are just going to improve naturally. Like I have to do them because they improve my deadlift, but they're not my favorite. That's for damn sure.
Man, I'm the same. I force myself to do them because I absolutely hate them. I hate them so much. But they've got to be done. So, and then my next one here is banded deadlifts. But in a different sense to the previous banded deadlifts. So this time, quite a lot of deadlift platforms will have like hooks on the either side of the platform. Or if you're in a rack, sometimes they have an option for you to put have hooks on either side. And what you want is a band on each side of the bar past the plates, hooked going over the end of the bar, so it's almost like pinning the bar down. And then when you deadlift, the higher up you get, the harder it gets. There's more tension towards the top, so it's going to make that last bit even harder and make you have to put way more effort in as you go up. So when you get to that lockout bit, you're really exerting yourself, so that's going to really help improve you having to force the lockout out.
Yeah, one of the lifts I really like these for as well is an explosive trap bar deadlift. If you're using deadlifts in any part of your program for more performance-based stuff as opposed to just ultimate strength, they're really, really good for developing that explosive power just at the top and that last bit where you have to bring the arse through and do multiple reps of that. And that is, you will notice a big difference in that kind of banded deadlift and just with normal weight on. Again, that strength curve is completely different at the top.
Yeah, definitely. So they're all my 3 solutions for if you struggle on the lockout. That's rack pulls, stiff leg deadlifts, and banded deadlifts. Now, my next issue number 3, is grip failure. So quite a lot of people, when they get to their top part of their deadlift, they just can't pull. Maybe their legs are strong enough to pull a certain weight, but their grip just keeps failing. And if you're powerlifting, for instance, and you're doing a comp, then unfortunately you're not allowed to use grippers. So that's not, in strongman you are, but that's a different scenario altogether. And in the gym, you do whatever you want. But I also put this in because I know, Jack, you absolutely hate grippers, and I use grippers all the fucking time because I'm
Do you notice that I didn't
fuck.
call you out yesterday at all when you were deadlifting?
Yeah.
I didn't say a word to you about that.
Yeah, because I don't care what you think. So but it is something that people need to work on, and it's something I am going to address within myself because my grip strength is shocking. So solutions for grip strength. First is practice hook grip. Hook grip does help with your deadlift. A lot of people struggle with hook grip because it is quite painful initially when you start doing it, but the more practice, I suggest people to like practice it in their warm-ups, or just practice it whenever they can to just get used to that feeling. And then hook grip will help improve your grip strength when you lift. And you will struggle if you get really, really good at it. You'll struggle to drop a bar because your hands will just be locked in.
Hook grip is great. If you go onto my social media and see any of my past deadlifts, you will see me put the bar down and then shake my hands. I'm shaking my hands because my thumbs were on fucking fire at the time. Because hook grip, you're wrapping your thumb underneath the bar, then your fingers go over the top of the bar and grab hold of your thumb, basically to lock your thumb is acting as a lock to stop anything twisting in your hand. And it is super, super effective. But as you say, Josh, it is super painful. And one thing I do want to say about the whole grip failure thing as well is the thing we see the most common too. So if you can, this thing I definitely see it anyway. There's the odd person that their posterior chain gives out first, but usually it's the grip. So hook grip is a good way if you start early. Unfortunately, I could already deadlift like 180 kilos before I ever started the hook grip. So when I transitioned to hook grip to do it, I hadn't actually tempered my thumb to it yet, which is why it still hurts like a bitch every time I do it. But it is good. I would say that's probably the ultimate way to get good at holding deadlifts without any straps.
Yep, definitely. So hook grip is one. Number two is farmer's walks. And farmer's walks, there will always be staple exercises that everybody uses that there's a reason people fucking use them. And farmers carries, as boring as some people find them, they get used everywhere for a fucking reason. Their nails, they're so good. They're not just good for your grip. They're phenomenal for your grip, but they're also good for your upper back. They're good for your core. They're just good for everything. And what I find a problem with a lot of times with people is they don't generally go heavy enough on their farmers walks. Too many people will go just 20 kilos for just to keep doing lengths and lengths and lengths, which is fine. But remember, we're going for strength here in a deadlift. So it's about going heavy, not about going for a long period of time. So you want to pick up some fucking heavy weights on a farmer's walks. If you can't farmer's walk like your max deadlift, maybe there's a little bit of I say that's wrong. Maybe if you can't farmer's walk like 20 kilos lighter than your max deadlift, that's probably a problem. So you want to get up to that kind of weight. Yeah, you want to get heavy with your farmers.
Yeah, the first goal, and this is the first goal I have for everyone's deadlift as well. First goal for farmers walk and deadlift is always your body weight, and then you just want to get exponentially heavier from there. Well, not exponentially, but you want to then aim for like 1.5, and then you're 2 times your body weight. Which, when it comes to a farmer's walk, is your body weight in each hand. Which is, it sounds like a hell of a lot, but it's definitely doable. And if you are struggling with this, there's multiple things. If you haven't got anything to do a farmer's walk with, then in your gym, you can use a trap bar, which is probably the easiest thing if you haven't got farmer's walk handles, because the kettlebells probably won't be heavy enough for you to do it with.
No, exactly. So some farmer's walk handles if you can. If not, what else works is like a trap bar, and you just load up the weight on that and walk with that. That will also help if you haven't got.
You zoned out then, didn't you? That's exactly what I just said.
Is it? Sorry. Yeah. I was looking up something for the next bit. That's fucking my bad. I'm a terrible person. So balls.
Brilliant.
Next. Brilliant. Fucking I'm a great podcast guy. So moving on to the next solution is Captains of Crush. Now, if anybody doesn't know what they are, they're like squeezy grip machines. The reason I bring out Captains of Crush is because they're the most legit brand for these, and they come in resistances, and if you can get the lot, I think it's something I'm trying to get up right now. Which one is Captains of Crush?
If you've ever climbed at all as well, or know anyone who does climbing, they use things like this, like the Captains of Crush, and they usually have insane grip strength.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So the Captains of Crush. So the top one, which doesn't very rarely ever gets done, is like supposed to be 365 pounds of force just in this crushing thing. But I think like number 3 is equal to like deadlifting 600 pounds. So there is a reason that they're so good. So if you can get good at these Captains of Crush and getting as high as you can up the strength ladder in these Captains of Crush, you can buy a whole set from 60 pounds up to 365 pounds. And essentially, when you get stronger at those, you will have grip strength strong enough to pick up weights that you may never ever pick up in your life. So it's definitely a good accessory piece of kit to get and to use. It's something when I've got a bit more cash, I'm one of the first things I want to buy is that, because I just want to be able to do the top one.
Yeah, and I don't know if there's any science behind this or not, but whenever I've used them before, they're not the Captains of Crush brand. I just had some cheaper generic ones. I've got no idea what they're rated to. I like doing it both ways around as well, because it hits slightly differently, and just practicing it. I upside down is usually easier because you can use your thumb a bit more to do it, but then you flip it up the right way up and it gets a little bit harder because you've got to use your little finger a little bit more to get the leverage on it. So yeah, they're actually really good. And if you Google them now, you'll probably recognize what they are. You just didn't realize what they were called before. What are those other things called that climbers use as well, where you hold it in the palm of your hand and each digit is spring loaded and you can train each digit at a time? Have you seen those things?
Oh wow, no.
I can't remember what the hell they're called, but they do look really cool, but they're the same as that. They go up in different levels. But they're essentially, you drive it into the pad and then you've got one for your thumb and one for each digit, and they're all spring loaded and you have to like press down on each one individually. Those sorts of things, they're really good. And if you don't want to spend money on stuff like this as well, you can do other things like that. Like fat grips is another one for grip strength, isn't it? You can do just like put a fat grip around something and hold on to it for as long as you can, like something heavy.
Yeah, fat grips are great. Fat grip training, if you've ever done it, it's just gross. It is really gross.
Really, yeah. It adds a whole other level. You also got things that work the other way, but that's not what I'm looking for. I'll see if I can find it anyway, and I'll send it across to you, Josh, actually. But it's impressive stuff.
Yeah. So in my last bit, so that's my grip solutions is hook grip, farmers walks, Captains of Crush. And don't forget, guys, if you didn't hear it mentioned twice, do trap bar deadlifts for farmers walks. That's really good. So moving on.
Josh, you can do trap bar deadlifts for farmers walks.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna get paid. I'm gonna have to. I feel like I need a forfeit. So my ultimate deadlift hack. I had a hack for each one of these ones. My ultimate deadlift hack is a really simple one. Is get a fucking huge back. Now, anybody with a massive back is wicked at deadlifting, and there's lots of other things I could have said, but I really do think just having a fucking monstrous back will help you get a really, really big back.
Yeah, a lot of people will put on deadlifts on a leg day. I actually have my deadlifts on a back day. I always have done. So if you get lean, where you're lean enough to like have real visible abs, if you on the back of your body, you will also get the erector spinae, which looks basically, they're the abs of the back. That's what if you talk to anyone who's been into lifting for a while, especially the aesthetic side of it, they're looking at developing those, and it's like the Christmas tree that goes up either side of your spine basically, and it's just this nice muscle group there. The amount of growth that you can get in that muscle group, particularly on your lower back from deadlifts, is fucking insane. But also your whole back. We've mentioned the lats multiple times now. All your traps are working to stabilize at the same time. Like there isn't really a single muscle in your body, for that matter of fact, but especially your back, that doesn't get worked to a high degree when you're doing a heavy ass deadlift.
Yeah, exactly. And like, you know, if you want to look at like the best deadlifters in the world, look at Eddie Cohen, who I mention all the time, is the top deadlifter, one of the best powerlifters in the world. His back was fucking monstrous. And he was a short guy. He wasn't a big guy, but he just had one of the biggest backs I've ever seen. So definitely get on it, get a huge bag. 100%. Now, I just realized I don't have a joke ready. So I'm going to quickly riff through what we went over. So guys, if you want to get better at deadlift and you're having these issues, let's go through these issues. If you struggle off the floor, then do dead stop deadlifts, deficit deadlifts, or banded deadlifts where the band's pulling the bar away from you. If you are struggling on the lockout, do rack pulls, stiff legs, or banded deadlifts where the bands are holding the bar down. If your grip is failing, do hook grip, farmer's walks, and get the captains of crush and give that a go. And remember, you can do farmer's walks with a trap bar if your dumbbells run out. And then my ultimate deadlift hack is get a huge, and I mean huge, back.
Yes, I like it. Josh, I've got a quick joke for you though.
Yes.
What did the guy in the gym use when he couldn't have any farmer's walk handles?
I don't know, but I reckon a good thing to use would be a trap bar deadlift. I think
you're right. You're right.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, this is a good one.
Oh, no.
How do you get a nun pregnant?
Via the second coming.
No, but that's good. Dress her up like an altar boy.
Oh, Jesus Christ. That took a second to click then. Oh my God, that's really bad, isn't it? Oh, dear.
Oh, my.
And what's that song from South Park? Little boy, you're going to hell. Like, we're going to hell. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Homage.
Oh,
well. Anyway.
Guys. I'd love to hear like the general consensus of what so the majority of people that we train, they're not into the geeky shit that we speak to. So I know they skip around on this. It'd be interesting to know how many people hang around for the last like few minutes where we just chat shit again.
Yeah.
It's all good. Next episode, I've got some fun stuff coming up, by the way. So I'm actually looking forward to recording that. There's some fun stuff that I want to talk to you about, Josh. So definitely tune in for next episode, guys. But until then, Josh, tell the lovely people where they can find us.
They can find us at the Audio System on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook. They can find our Facebook group where they can input any questions or any topics they want to cover at the Lifting Lounge in groups on Facebook. We're also on YouTube now. You can see my pretty face here on YouTube at the Lifting Lounge. And our website at www.theliftinglounge.com. Oh no.
Yes, love it. That one. Yeah, guys, please leave us a rating and a review and a like and a notification bell and comments and all of that shit. The more input you can give us, the more we are going to feel loved, and you don't want Josh to feel unloved now, do you? So just do all those things for us. New revamp coming to the website soon. In fact, by the time this is done, you might be able to visit it and have a sneak peek at some stuff that is coming out. When is this one going live, Josh?
Well, what's the number? Is it 72, isn't it? So we've just had 69 go out. So not next week, week after.
No, okay, cool, perfect. So yeah, week after a week, which will be the Monday. So yeah, perfect. You'll be listening to this because I know you're all eager beavers. You'll be listening to this on the release day of Monday the 11th. Yeah,
nice.
Website will be done by then.
Yeah, why not?
Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, have a fucking day. We will speak to you soon.
Right on. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.